Austin would have dozens to hundreds of seizures every single day. None of the prescriptions would work. One pill almost killed our son.
I've had 3 back surgeries, and I was on opioids for 15 years. It was a very dark, very depressive time in my life.
After my injury, I felt like I couldn't live with the pain, but I couldn't live with this treatment long term. It was unbearable.
I don't have to live like that anymore. Medical cannabis saved Austin's life.
Cannabis has given me my life back.
There are families in other states having to watch their children die.
I want to see my brothers and sisters who sacrificed so much for this country have access to the safest treatment possible. This really is an injustice.
It's not just unfair, it's cruel.
Well, wow. Pretty powerful stuff. Man, if only John Boehner was that powerful and cared this much about medical marijuana when he was Speaker of the House for however long, 10 years or whatever. So, yeah, that's see, this is from Acreage Holdings. And you might remember that the Super Bowl rejected this commercial. And I don't have verification as to exactly why what excuse they gave, but apparently there was the part at the beginning where they were showing the seizures, and apparently they wanted somebody wanted some edits on that, and maybe someone didn't want to do edits, so they just flat out said, okay, we're not going to accept the commercial. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe I'll talk about it later on at a later date. Not very important. What is important, though, is that this commercial gets viral. Like, I want this commercial to be everywhere. I want everybody to see this commercial. I want more people to see this commercial than if it would have ran on the Super Bowl. That would be nice. So what we have is we have a situation where John Boehner he's like the main PR guy for this AcreageHoldings.com company. And what Acreage Holdings is, let's face it, they're the corporate takeover of marijuana. They want as much market share as they can possibly get out of the gate. And they already have their fingers in all the states where it's legal, some of the states where it's not even legal in any capacity. They're there working on different things. I don't know if they're anticipating some legislative things that they know about, but you know, and that's the thing. It's John Boehner. So of course, when you're talking about some of those states that haven't legalized any kind of marijuana for any reason currently, those are the places where he probably has some friends, you know. And then some of those sectors that were wiped out, like recently, like tobacco and all that, you know, throughout the down south, farming in general has been just dismal and has gotten worse every year that hemp has been illegal. And so there's a lot of things going on with Acreage Holdings that I am totally against. They aren't actually, you know, like I was just saying, that John Boehner has a lot of connections in the government, both federally and locally. But it's not the kind of connections that are helpful to us. These are the kind of connections that are helpful to the corporate marijuana takeover. And I don't know if maybe you just stumbled on this video and you don't know about me or what I talk about, but I was asked one time, you know, what is the purpose of your channel? You know, I mean, weed's pretty much going to be legalized everywhere soon, so who cares? You know, what are you really still doing as far as activism is concerned? And the bottom line is what I talk about is that we got to do this right. And a lot of people push back, oh, this is America. How can you expect a commodities industry like this is not going to get taken over by the corporate, you know, overlords and parsed out to their rich friends and sharehold it out to the highest bidders and stuff. So basically, you know, it will be, and it will definitely be, there will be Marlboro cigarettes that are marijuana someday, probably not too far off in the future, as we all have seen them having more interest every year at getting involved. So I'm not saying that we're going to stop altogether this corporate takeover. And I'm not even saying that John Boehner and Acreage Holdings is I'm not even saying they have sinister intentions while doing this market grab, while, you know, trying to grab up the market share before the industry even is fully born in America. And the problem with Acreage Holdings that I have is that they are the face of this corporate takeover through and through, yet they are not trying to invest money in, that I know of, any legislative efforts or any on-the-ground people's initiatives to try to legalize marijuana or to do anything to reform marijuana laws. And they certainly are not interested in ending prohibition. So when you talk about legalization of marijuana, there's three camps. There's the legalization, which is a tax and regulation type situation where you say, okay, well, if you're 21 and older, you can go buy it, and then you regulate the marketplace so that you have to get licenses to participate in it and all that. And then you have the ending of prohibition, which would be marijuana is no longer a crime, period. There is no, you know, it's basically like tomatoes. And when it comes to setting up businesses and stuff like that, there will be no like strict license rules and regulations, because the enforcement of it will not be able to be strict enough. As in, you won't have, you know, the police doing regulation and code enforcement. And then the third camp of ending prohibition or legalizing marijuana is just decriminalization, where you don't allow, it's still illegal, but decriminalization has become sort of a buzzword for basically allowing people to possess and use marijuana without fear of being punished as it being a crime. And where we've seen decriminalization roll out, we've seen cops ignore it. We've seen it being used as some kind of a way to demonize black markets more. And it invites the black market right in, you know, like if there already isn't a nice robust black market somewhere where you decriminalize small amounts of marijuana, it's gonna be real quick, because there's no marketplace. They don't regulate stores, so you can't go to the store and buy weed. And the just to straight up decriminalize small amounts and stuff, that's the worst possible way to go. But it's still better than just legalizing, because if you just legalize and you have no decriminalization in your legalization package other than the small amounts that you can possess and smoke, so that people are allowed to go to the store, buy their small amount of weed, basically go home and smoke it in the closet. So, and what that does is it creates a marketplace that is run by the corporations, and if you try to grow your own plants, you'll get arrested and thrown in jail still. And a lot of the times there's still, like in Michigan, there's a new push to get rid of marijuana in the Controlled Substances Act of Michigan, which is a no-brainer because it's legalized, right? Well, it seems like it's going to be a little bit of a brainer because there's a lot of opposition to that effort. And it's basically just Big Pharma saying, no, we want to make sure that people can still get arrested for going outside of these regulations, felonies. And as long as it's still in the Controlled Substances Act, they can just say, okay, well, you know, the marijuana legalization thing that you voted for, that's cool and everything, but if you break it, if you're growing too many plants or possessing too much wax or whatever, well, we're just going to go ahead and pretend like that don't exist and prosecute you under the Controlled Substances Act in Michigan. And I'm sure that there's already a court case in place for that going on right now, because Michigan is a prohibition state still. Believe that. And it's just like Acreage Holdings has their fingers in stuff going on here too. All right. There's new places that we're outside of the window of the Medical Marijuana Facilities Licensing Act of 2016 had a 2-year window. Now people from out of state can come in and get those licenses, and they have been doing it. And they're going to keep doing it. And after they have those licenses for 2 years, then they can go ahead and get the license under the new adult use, or whatever you want to call it. It's legal now, but you can't open a store till 2020. Well, by then, 2019 and 2020, by 2021, those out-of-state people are going to be able to have businesses now. So Acreage Holdings they're everywhere trying to take over everything. we'll see the aggressiveness of acreage holding increase over time. But this is the kind of thing they're doing right now. And I think this is more of a PR move than anything. Now, whether they would have got the NFL to approve the commercial and it would have ran at the Super Bowl, even then, like, a lot of people that appreciated or needed to see it might not have even seen it, because, you know, not everybody watches the Super Bowl. You know, it's a pretty popular thing, but it's not everybody watches the Super Bowl. So a lot of people would still have to rely on whatever other ways to see it. And my next question is will they be allowed to run, or will they attempt to run this commercial anywhere else for any reason? The only reason we're seeing it right now is because it's been leaked. And by the way, just real quick, let me see if I can give some credit where credit's due on the leak. I got this from Ebaums World. You know, follow Ebaums World. You know, from time to time you'll get some stuff like this. Now, I've read comments both here and on the video on YouTube that was posted by I Take Liberty with My Coffee, an account. So the only reason I know this is because that's linked here to this one on Ebaums World. So basically, I don't know how it got leaked, or if that is even what happened, but we're able to see it now. Will Acreage run this commercial anymore? Is this going to be something that Acreage Holdings is going to go ahead and run? That's the question I'm still left with. And again, I think this is a very powerful commercial that everybody should see. That's first and last. And I really don't have much else to say, except for I hope that, you know, you spread the word about this. I'll leave the link to this video in the description. So if you want to share this with your friends or family, but you don't want to have my commentary in there muddling it up, then go ahead and share the one I put in the link below. I'll even link the Ebaum article. And yeah, so just to summarize again, this is the commercial that the Super Bowl supposedly rejected the NFL. I believe that this was rejected from others on high atop a mountain, because, you know, when you look at the commercials on the Super Bowl these days, Big Pharma and Big Alcohol have a big piece of the pie chart. They spend a lot of the money. I wouldn't say that them two put together as a sector still don't take up half the pie chart, but it's pretty close. It's definitely more than a third. And that's a lot. That's a lot of money that the Super Bowl rakes in for, you know, pharma and alcohol commercials and insurance. But for some reason, insurance is the #1 enemy of legalizing marijuana. I wonder why that is. It's weird. But the thing about it is they are definitely another one of those sectors that, if you look at prohibition, when states try to legalize marijuana on the ballot and there's a big campaign against that, it's usually insurance. There's always insurance money in the pool to fight it. And they, you know, the AAA comes out with all these things. Like, their own study said that marijuana is not something to worry about when it comes to people driving stoned or whatever. And yet they have rules and hidden rules and bylaws where they charge people more that they know smoke marijuana or use medical marijuana. They'll refuse you to get car insurance. And it's just ridiculous. They put out propaganda stories, even though their own study, AAA's own study, says don't worry about it. They put out propaganda stories saying, you know, marijuana and driving is a killer and whatever. Anyway, I'm just going off into tangents. That was it. Please share this, or share at least the actual video, and I'll see you in a bit. So just a quick additive. I just realized that CBS is who rejected it. Duh, it says it right on Ebaum's headline here. And that's kind of important to note, but it goes right along with what I just said earlier about how, you know, the Super Bowl spending pie chart is mostly hogged up by people that love prohibition of marijuana. And CBS is not exactly marijuana legalization's best friend either. So basically, yeah, there you have it. CBS is like, ooh, you know what? When CBS makes a decision like that, there's other people in the room, as in the people that have the big chunks of that pie chart that are spending a lot of money on commercials on the Super Bowl. None of them wanted it there either. And it would have, you know, the thing about it is this is pretty loud that it got rejected and people are talking about it. But imagine how loud it would be if it got ran. Because that's the thing that no one ever thinks about with Super Bowl commercials, is the commercial being on the Super Bowl itself is... That's cool. A lot of people see it, but most people probably see it with the news pundits and other people talking about it. And every year there's a couple different ones that they're like, oh, you know, that it's almost like a theme in the mainstream media to run stories about Super Bowl ads. And one of their themes is like, wow, look at these guys, you know, and it's like a mile marker. Like at one time, Amazon did a Super Bowl ad and everybody freaked out. It was such a big deal, you know, and that was like way back in the day, you know, like that's the kind of shit that I'm talking about. Like, so if this was to be ran, it would have been the first time ever a pro marijuana commercial would be ran on the Super Bowl. I don't know if Dare ever ran any anti-marijuana commercials on the Super Bowl, probably, but I've never heard of a pro marijuana ad. This advocate, like, this is an activist commercial. It's not like, hey, go buy some weed at my dispensary or anything like that. This is like, hey, call your representative. We need to get on this. And so there's that. So that's all. I just wanted to like quickly throw that in on the end of this video. And that's all. Have a good day. Bye.